Good morning, everyone. Morning. I hate to disturb your breakfast, but I mean duty before pleasure. So I would like to welcome you to today's breakfast briefing. We're going to discuss a very important topic, cybersecurity. And we have a group of panelists, and each one of them are going to discuss the topic from his own perception. I would like to ask Mr. Maged Izzeddin, our acting president, to come and give the welcome remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadia. I didn't finish breakfast, by the way. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors of the British Egyptian Business Association to welcome you all to this special event. Our objective is to empower organizations to proactively address the evolving landscape of cyber threats, fostering a collective commitment to strong cybersecurity practices. I would like to thank our guest speakers who are present with us today. Mr. Mohammed Abdel Rasool, the CEO and Managing Director, Orient Insurance. Mr. Walid Auf, Vice Chairman, Midmark Insurance Brokerage. Mrs. Samah Khamis, Head of Cybersecurity and Tech Strategy at Vodafone Egypt. We also have Mr. Ahmed Ali Abdel Hafiz, Vice President of Cybersecurity Affairs, NTRA. Mr. Thomas Cook, Regional Associate Director of Cyber Middle Eastern Affairs, Howden Insurance Brokerage. Mr. Omar Shawi, Partner, Mazars Mustafa Shawi. And lastly, moderated by our friend, Mr. Karim Refaat, Chairman of Engage Consulting. I would like also to welcome our guests, His Excellency Kim Han, Korean Ambassador to Egypt. Welcome, sir. Councillor Mehmet Bahadir Ileri, Deputy Chairman of Mission Turkish Embassy. And Mr. I'll try to pronounce your name, Antonios Liosis, Deputy Chief of Mission Greek Embassy. Please forgive me if I didn't get it right. I would like to recognize and thank our main sponsors. So I'd like to thank Midmark and also our silver sponsors, Orient, and our event partners for the continuous support. So Bank Decare, CIB Egypt, GlaxoSmithKline, GSK, New Era for Education, Uppingham Cairo, Suez Canal Bank, Tatweer Masr, and Vodafone. And a special thank you to our strategic media partner, Excellence, of course. Now I give it to Karim Refaat to invite his panelists, and we look forward to fruitful discussion. Over to you, Karim.
Good morning, everyone. Again, very proud to be with you all today. Anna, my name is Karim Refaat. For those who don't know me, I see a lot of familiar faces, but I see also a lot of very new faces for me. I'm the founder and the chairman of the Engage Group, led by Engage Consulting. And I would like to start by thanking Biba, Nadia Lamloum, Maged Izzeddin, and everyone in Biba team for allowing us to take the honor of being the moderator of this panel. Again, I'd like just to say, if you allow me, I rarely try to say anything about the Engage when I moderate a panel, but this is the first panel, the first activity for Engage in 2024, and we've recently celebrated 10 years of impact of Engage. And I would like to take an opportunity to thank Nadia Lamloum, among many others who've been supporting to Engage since its inception. And thank you very much for always allowing us to be a knowledge partner of Biba. Now, having said this and having given you your dues, I would like to also thank you for always selecting the most difficult topic to choose me to moderate. I did moderate a panel on crypto and now on cybersecurity that I honestly don't know a lot about, but I'm very assured by the preparatory call that we had last night. So allow me to invite the panelists, and my dear friend Magid. I'm a former diplomat, so I'll try to skip some mistakes that you've done. So I'll start with the lady, Mrs. Samah Khamis, Head of Technology, Strategy, and Cybersecurity. And then I'll move on to His Excellency, Dr. Ahmed Ali Abdel Hafiz, the Executive Director of the Supreme Council for Cybersecurity and a leading member of the National Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, Walid Auf, Vice Chairman of MEDMAR, Mohammed Abdel Rasool, CEO of Orient Insurance, Tom Cook, Regional Director of Cyber for Middle East and Africa, and Howden Insurance Brokerage Limited. And I guess finally, my friend Omar from Mazar. And I think we're very ready to have a very, hopefully, intellectually entertaining discussion and a challenging one. Before I start, I'd like just to set the tone. If I, please. So to set the tone for the stage, I think with the exception of Dr. Ahmed, if I may say so, none of us is cybersecurity experts, at least I'm not. But all of us are representing different entities like all of you that would be very heavily impacted in. Are you a cybersecurity expert, Sam? Okay. That's okay. But at least all of us, like all of you, are very, could be potentially very heavily impacted, positively or negatively, by cybersecurity. What we discussed in the faculty call yesterday is cybersecurity could represent a major danger to many of us, could represent a lot of threats, and I'll share with you some numbers that thankfully my team has prepared for me. But it also could represent a huge opportunity for many different businesses. Just to take us a step back, we all lived the COVID scenario. And when COVID happened, everyone told you, you have to digitize, you have to go online, you have to become electronic, you have to do everything remotely to be able to survive. And in the middle of this, many of us have faced some attacks, some threats, some compromising attempts on their businesses and so on. And all of us, with different levels, have started to look into cybersecurity as a new line of investment in our business and a line of investment for the purpose of survival. Some quick facts that I would like to tell you, and then we'll shape the discussion out. World Economic Forum is expecting that cybercrime could cost the world in the next few years more than $10 trillion. The attacks have multiplied by more than 180% in the past few years. The attacks only in the victims only in 2021 was more than 3.5 million victims of cybersecurity attacks. This is how impactful it can become. But to start, what we said yesterday when we were preparing for this challenging panel, we said we want to talk about what is happening, what are the opportunities, and of course we listen to Dr. Ahmed a lot about what the state is doing to enable the people to shield themselves from cybersecurity. But we also talk about the regularity and the policy aspect, the enabling regularity aspect and policy aspect. We talk about the capabilities, the technicalities that exist in this country. Here is talking about opportunity. And then, most probably, you want to listen from the panelists on, okay, what can you as companies benefit? I mean, how can you shield yourself? And I'll give the opportunity for the people from the insurance business and cybersecurity to do some business development. Probably many of you would like to solicit their services after the fact. So, if you allow me, I will start by allowing everyone to say a few words as we are getting statistics, 3 to 5 minutes. And now that I've given you your interest as a person, allow me to start with Dr. Ahmed. I'd like to listen to your look, what the state is doing. Tell us more about cybersecurity, Supreme Council, the arrangements. Are you protecting us? Do we have rights? Do we have obligations? And so on. Tell us about what's happening.
First of all, thank you for inviting me for that event. I would like to welcome all the people attended here. His Excellency, I have met him before, and he's invited me to South Korea to give a lecture there. Regarding our efforts in cybersecurity in Egypt, coming back to 2009. In 2008 has been a critical incident about for the fiber cable where the internet has been cut off in all of Egypt. So Ministry of Telecommunication decided at that time to establish a seat for a cybersecurity team. It was a 6 engineering related to Ministry of Telecommunication working for the cybersecurity, what is called Egyptian CERT. CERT which means Computer Emergency Readiness Team. But right now, the name has been changed to Computer Readiness Emergency Team. Since the cybersecurity is not how to protect yourself against the attack, or how to be ready to protect yourself. After establishing the Egyptian CERT in 2009, in 2014, the Supreme Council of Cybersecurity has been established, headed by Ministry of Telecommunication, and consists of all the security agents in the country and all the critical infrastructure people in the country. The purpose of Supreme Council of Cybersecurity is to put strategies, to put frameworks, to put controls, to protect all the governmental digital assets. Because of, as you may know, digital transformation, we have to protect our asset for digital transformation. For the purpose of Supreme Council of Cybersecurity, to put regulation, to put framework, for example, for the emerging technology like 5G, like IoT, like cloud computing, we are establishing a new framework how to use this technology in a secure manner. And the executive arm for that Supreme Council is the Egyptian CERT, which is a part of the National Telecommunication Regulatory Authority. Right now, we are more than 100 engineers. We have a lot of divisions, threat intelligence, malware analysis, R&D. We are dealing with the all governmental sector to protect them in proactive manner as well. And if any incident happened to any critical infrastructure in the government, you are responsible to deal with them, how to mitigate the incident, how to keep the business continuity during the incident happen, how to get a learned lesson to not repeat this incident again in other organizations. So in Egyptian CERT, we are also responsible for digital forensic for electronic crimes. We are the main division responsible for writing a technical report about a digital forensic. You may know that in Egypt right now we have an Act 175 for 2018 years to criminalize the cyber crimes or cyber-enabled crimes. All these cases, we got the equipment like cell phone, laptop, computer, to come out with the digital forensic with the details about how this person can deal with the data during before and during the crime, and write a technical report to the law enforcement people to help them to get the right decision. Moreover, we are dealing, as you may know, cybersecurity is we couldn't work standalone, and we are planning to make many collaborations, even nationally or international or globally. We are part on the first. First is the larger community about the cybersecurity all over the world, more than 600 CERTs all over the world. We are part of the steering committee for the first. We are part in OICs, Islamic organizations, CERT all over the world. In the ranking for the GCI Global Cybersecurity Index, which is an organization from ITU, we are number 23rd all over the world, 193 countries. But let me say, 4 years ago, we was number 14. But the ranking was 87 degrees out of 100. But when we come to the rank 23rd, we have 95 degrees out of 100. It means that all the countries all over the world doing their best to build their cybersecurity capabilities. So there is a big race to fulfill the GCI requirements. GCI put some 5 pillars how to organize the cybersecurity organized in your country, as a technical, how you are doing in developing your tools, your cybersecurity tool, in the capacity building. As you may know, we are challenging to find this, an expert for cybersecurity all over the world. Right now, there are more than 4 million vacancies in cybersecurity. So the capacity building to build your capability, the people to work in cybersecurity. As you may know, cybersecurity is some sort of triangle: technology and process and people. If you have the state of the art of the technology, if you put your process as well, but you should have a well-trained people to deal with that sense. More than 80 or 90% of the incident coming from non-awareness of the people itself. The fourth pillar for that is academia, how to deal with the academia and the private part, and the fifth pillar is the legal. How to, in your country, what is the legal concerning that. So in this pillars, we are trying to build our best to fulfill the requirement for GCI, not to get the higher rank, but to be in a good shape in cybersecurity to protect our asset in digital transformation.
Thank you very much. It's really enlightening, and I guess a lot of people in the room, at least I didn't know that so many things are happening at the Egyptian level. I'm not Omar Shawki, Omar, my friend. So Mazar is very well known for their audit, for their tax, for the many different services. But a few years back, we started really taking the consulting business of Mazar into a new space, and I personally approve you for this. When you talk consulting, to any of the big fours or the big sevens, everyone is going to talk to you about the only way to go forward is to digitize your business and to digitally transform it. So how do you reconcile, if I mean, what Mazar is doing in that space, and how do you reconcile for people in businesses like us? I'm one of the people that can do digital at scale, because I think that the info, very, very technical, very important info, audit statements, financial statements, share prices, business plans, and so on, are going to be out there, and if someone can get access to them, the business can be really compromised. So how do you manage this with your clients, and what's the approach?
Thanks, Karim. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nadia and Biba, for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be here. I think digital transformation is a big topic, so I'll try to stick to the cyber element of it. Like you said, we work a lot with businesses, and with businesses we help them measure their controls, their risks, and obviously one of the big threats is cyber risk. And like Dr. Ahmed was saying, and Karim, the country has gone through a big digital transformation shift. Especially during COVID, that accelerated it. But you also see, the government is pushing people to digitalize their processes, which adds costs, because you either have to implement new software, new ways of working, but also you have to manage and deal with the risks associated with new software and new hardware elements. And I think that's a challenge, especially when you think of, I think the electronic invoice, we have close to 500,000 companies now on the platform. So you're bringing in people that might not necessarily been digitalizing their processes now onto the platform. And that adds significant risk in them managing their software, their hardware, whatever it may be. So, if you think about all the smart devices also that people are implementing, how can you manage the risks associated with this? Anything that has an IP address is essentially offers an opportunity for a hacker to enter your system. So how we help our clients as Mazar, so we look at the processes, we try to implement and help organizations implement proper processes to mitigate the risk associated with cyber. If you think about cyber insurance, it's a big topic these days. We see a lot of tenders, a lot of client engagements where they require companies to have cyber insurance, or they ask if you have cyber insurance. And that's a way for clients and businesses to protect themselves from whatever damages that may be. In a way, we can help implement those processes and put in place procedures that cyber insurance companies look for, because at the end of the day, you're trying to minimize your premium. So if you are ready to protect your data, your client data, your employee data, that's how we work and help clients work, essentially.
Thank you very much. You said the magic word that one day from Ken to Tom Cook, cyber insurance stuff. So how aware are people, how accepting are people for cyber insurance? Do you sell easily, or are people simply resisting, saying, no, this is not important for now? what's the market size, how do you attract the people, how do you get them that this is a need more than a nice to have now?
Yep. Thank you everyone for joining. It comes in many ways. Normally the first question I always get asked is, how much is it going to cost me? That's always the first one. When we look at the cyber insurance, it's normally rated on 3 metrics. Revenue, and the reason they do revenue is for business interruption costs that come with every cyber insurance policy, and it can also be used to aggregate the cost of a ransomware claim. Personal identifiable information, how much data are you storing on individuals? And lastly, what are the controls that you have as a company? What we've seen from many companies is over time, especially post-COVID, is more of a need for cyber insurance. Whereas maybe 5 years ago, it was mainly being limited towards banks, financial institutions, we're seeing a wide range of different sectors now looking towards cyber insurance. We've seen retailers, manufacturing companies, aviation companies, and a lot of this is to do with the heightened, when you look at media, how much is being posted on cyber attacks, not only just globally, but we're also seeing it in all the specific territories. One of the biggest problems that we face, especially in Middle East and Africa, is a lack of information about claims. When it comes to European countries, especially with GDPR, a lot of it is being posted online on all of the news outlets. But what we find in the Middle East is when attacks do happen, it's not always being notified. When we look at different companies, when it comes to fostering cybersecurity, as Ahmed said earlier, it's not just about defense, it's also about the offense. What we normally ask our clients to do is identify what type of exposures they may face. What would they do to mitigate such exposures? One example that we've always got when it comes to cyber insurance is always about keeping it simple. We had a claim a couple of years ago, and as you always move to a digital world, sometimes keeping it quite old school is the best way to go. And what we use this for in cyber insurance is when we sell clients the policy, we always ask them to keep a physical copy. Now, the reason for this is about 2 years ago, one of my clients suffered a cybersecurity attack, and what you get as part of your cyber insurance is a policy document that in the event of a claim, you have an incident response manager who you could call and help fix the situation. But what happened with this client is they kept it all online. Now, they suffered a cybersecurity attack, the network was encrypted, they couldn't actually print out their document, which would help them in the event of a claim. So what we always tell clients to do is not only have the defense side sorted, but also the offensive side. You know, companies of the best security controls globally have actually suffered cybersecurity attacks. It's what you do in them situations to get through the attacks and minimize the costs of such attack that's the most important.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting. If I may move to this now. So you're with Medmont, you're one of the top players in the insurance business in general. So you're talking about life, non-life, medical, everything. And I want to know, what's your reading of the reasons behind the increase in the attacks recently? And has the increase in the attacks resulted in an increase in solicitation on cybersecurity insurance? Or you think people are still not there?
Thank you very much, Karim. Maybe I would like to thank first Biba, Magid, Nadia, and I would like to thank actually all the guests and the audience. Back to your question, Karim, basically, because there is a whole section in insurance about crime insurances. So we have to learn a little bit about the psychology and the dynamics of crimes. Crimes are actually highly influenced by 3 elements. Motivation, and motivation is very important because every criminal knows that he's breaking the law, and by breaking the law, he can be subject to very harsh penalties. So there should be a very high motive for me to break the law. So motivation is very important. The second element, most criminals have to perceive themselves as smart people who can do their crimes and get away with the crime. So there is also the perception of the capacity of the hacker or the thief or whoever is a criminal. And the third element is my perception on the vulnerability of the victim. The weaker the victim is, the higher the appetite to actually commit crime against them. And if we look at motivation, number one, well, they're all after money, and money has been shifting over the last years and decades from the brick and mortar facilities, branches, to the online and digital platforms. The motivation on the digital world is every day growing. Actually, I got an interesting piece of information just last Friday before the weekend. The S&P 500 IT index reached a historic top point. And that's just an indication. We know it's going higher. So on the motivation side, there is now more money in the digital world than before, and tomorrow there will be more and more. In terms of capacity of the hackers, well, they have the same set of skills as the developers. Actually, they are developers. And we know that when we try to launch a website or any application, actually those who develop it will do the tests against hacking. So it's the same set of skills, okay? Those who develop technology have the same set of skills of those who are hacking technology. It's exactly like terrorists training camps. Terrorist training camps can sometimes be more or less similar to a state security force training camp. They have the same type of skills, they have the same capacities, so there is growing capacity on that. And if we think and believe that there is, as Dr. Ahmed has mentioned, actually a scarcity in these skills, probably a certain portion of those skills are probably on the wrong side of the fence. And we cannot quantify them, okay? But they are there. And that's a constant struggle between good and evil. The third element, I think, is very important, especially in developing markets, which is the vulnerability of the victim. The level of awareness being poor, whether as individuals or some of our firms and entities, makes us, of course, at a higher level of exposure to the success of the attack, because, I mean, attacks are happening very frequently. Maybe some of our colleagues in cybersecurity can shed some light on how evolving are the rates of success. Are they improving? Are they worsening? I don't know exactly about that, but that's an important angle to look at. So I think here it's very important because of the interaction of all these elements. Of course, we are seeing more and more attacks. And if we look at our market in Egypt in terms of awareness, I think we're still in an early phase of the journey. There is a lot of work that we as cybersecurity experts, the state, the players in the market, and as cyber insurance experts, we have a role to play in building up this awareness, and we still have a long way. Thank you, Karim.
Thank you very much. As much as I saying this, you're making it sound to me like the cybersecurity hackers are very intellectually strategic and smart people that don't want to become I'm really sorry, but that's the way I felt. They seem to be smarter than all of us.
I have some words for that. You don't have to be expert. You may consult AI to. You may ask any AI application to build your attack. You will ask any attacker to give you a favor. Yeah.
Intentionally at last. So Muhammad, yesterday when you told me there is some very eye-opening things. You spoke about awareness of the services and the clients they don't know what you can offer. You gave me a very nice example that I will pick you on. You said you sometimes even can pay back ransom. So I don't know what that means because that seems extremely challenging. So what is your business delivering as offering to us as clients in terms of cybersecurity?
Thank you very much, Karim. Thank you for the BBA for the kind invitation. I'm very happy to be here today with all the panelists. I just want to comment on what Dr. Walid said about the 3 reasons for cyber attacks. It rang a bell with me because my daughter now is in the first year university studying artificial intelligence. So yesterday I was speaking to her like, what are you doing? She said, I'm studying. What are you doing in your study? She said, I'm creating the hacker code. So now I'm thinking about the motivation. Maybe I'm not giving her enough money. So, back to your question, Karim. Maybe we didn't do enough effort to tell our clients, either existing clients or potential clients, that firstly, there is cyber insurance. Many of the people don't know there is cyber insurance. Number two, when people think about cyber insurance, when the clients or potential clients think about cyber insurance, they may think it's very, very expensive, which is on the contrary. And for a customer, medium size or big corporate, they will pay on cyber insurance less than what they are paying for the insurance, property insurance or fire insurance for the factory, or medical insurance they are paying for their employees. It's very, very affordable. The price, as Thomas mentioned, it's based on the information. So the more information you are giving to us, the better premium we will give to you. But for sure, the information needs to be satisfactory. So you need to do the effort. There's a principle in insurance that you need to take precautions and security measures as if you are not insured. Like fire insurance, when we are insuring a factory, the client need to have firefighting on the factory. Otherwise, we're not insured. So it's not about that they have insurance, they shall not have sprinklers. Simply what we are covering on cyber insurance, it's very simple. I'll talk about the simple answers or the simple covers which we are providing. Maybe most of the people don't know about it. Firstly, we are covering the security and the privacy breaches. So we are paying for the damage. We are liable for the damage, and we are paying for the legal expenses that will be associated with the security and privacy breach. Like, let's say that there is a breach on the data and breach on the server, and there will be additional expenses. Firstly, to inform your customers, our customers, that we have a leakage and that their data is no longer secured. So we need to inform them. Like, I will not give a company name, but a month back there was a big company in Egypt that maybe it was a rumor that they have an attack. And this company, they need simply to inform their customers. There is a cost associated. Second thing, that we are covering the multimedia activities. So we are paying again, we are liable for the damage and for the legal expenses associated with all the multimedia activities, all the Facebook pages, Instagram, websites, all the multimedia activities. Label and slander, let's say there is a cyber attack and the hacker dominated the website or dominated the Facebook page, and he started to attack our competitors or to be offensive to our competitors, and our competitors have made a legal case against us. I'm talking as a client now. So we'll pay for the legal expenses, we'll pay for the penalty. The third cover, which is very important, that's what Karim said, is called cyber extortion. Cyber extortion, let's say, and it happened already, Thomas can further comment, he's more expert on this. There is a business and the hackers dominated the business fully. I think we have some examples, Thomas can tell more about it, that there was a platform in Gulf of Mexico and the hackers, they have totally dominated the platform. So the platform cannot produce oil anymore. So they are asking for ransom. So they can release, so they have controlled all the systems. So they want to release subject to getting the ransom. Insurance company will pay, surprisingly. Maybe it's in Egypt, crypto is not allowed, but we can find a solution for this. What else we are covering, which is very important also, reputational risk. Following an attack, the reputation is much affected. When the reputation is affected, we need to appoint, as a client, we need to appoint a public relation company in order to restore the reputation. When the reputation of a company is affected, it can take years to restore the reputation, so we are also paying for this. Also, surprisingly, we are paying compliance penalties. So if there is a penalty that have been imposed because of a cyber attack on our servers, on our data, we are paying for this. What is also very important, as Thomas mentioned, we are paying for the business and network interruption. Following a cyber attack, the operation of the business can be disrupted fully or partially. So we are paying your profit and working expenses associated with the closure of your business partially or fully until you restore back your normal operation. This is simply the cyber insurance. There are many other covers. What we advise our customers on cyber insurance, firstly, we are giving advices. It's the supply chain or the value chain for the insurance. I'll talk about the cyber. A broker will go to the customer, advise the customer about what they need to buy, because what the policy is covering is a limit of liability. So we pay up to a certain amount in Egyptian pound, in dollars, in euros, in whatever the currency. So we pay up to a certain amount. Any amount below this amount we'll be paying. So we need to work with you, with the broker, insurance company and the broker, with you on the limit that you need, the data that you need to provide to us. And we will give you always advices, not only on insurance, we'll give advices on risk management, how to mitigate your risks. We will give you tips about to train your employees, because employee training is very, very important. Because phishing, we all know that we can receive a message, we can receive an email that just if we click on the link, that our data will be released. So this is what we are providing as insurance. So again, I just want to mention, it's not only big business is attacked, but or there is a potential risk for the big business. Surprisingly, 50% of the cyber attacks are for SMEs. This is a global record, so 50% is on SMEs. So it's not only that the business need to be big to be subject to attacks, the business can be small to be subject to attacks. Because I want to mention this also, not all hackers are professionals. Some hackers are just make it as fun, or they are making it to prove themselves. And I was reading a report about the hackers. Many of them, they have psychological issues. So it's not only the motive, as Dr. Walid said, it's not only about the money. They want to prove to themselves that they can dominate, that they can control, because in real life they cannot do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed. I did, ladies and gentlemen, Mohammed Abdul Rasul, one of the best business developers, one of the best salesperson I can see.
Thank you.
Get more services that you can go and buy. Samah, finally, sorry, I apologize if I did not qualify you as a cybersecurity expert in the beginning. I want to talk to you about capabilities. So, Vodafone, we mentioned the name of Vodafone. The last time I checked, this was still leading in the market. I hope for you guys that stayed the case. You touch all of us, our phones, our homes, our enterprises, our Vodafone cash, and I can go on and on and on. So our info, our lives are with Vodafone or with similar providers like Vodafone. So my question is about the ecosystem of the setup, not of the cybersecurity insurance people, but of the cybersecurity protectors. Are we having enough capabilities in Egypt? If we wanted, and I'll move into this part of the discussion in the latter part of our conversation for all of us, if we wanted to impose on people to be cybersecurity aware and cybersecurity protected, do we have enough capabilities to service them?
Good morning, everyone. So first of all, I would like to thank Biba for inviting me for this distinguished panel. So let me take you in the world of the first line to the attack. So the technology companies that based mainly on technology and digital are the ones who really face the attacks on a daily basis. So to really mitigate and to have a preventive actions towards cybersecurity, you need to acknowledge that you have a cybersecurity as one of your top organization risks. If you acknowledge that this is a risk that you need to cater for and work on, you will put appropriate strategy that will be accompanied by appropriate investment. So in Vodafone, we had built in a strategy starting 2017, 18, before COVID time. And we have established that we have a framework to secure our technology and attack service. With the COVID, what happened is the attack service increased because all the services become more digital. We have more startups, we have more e-wallets, we have more online banking, we have more online shopping. So the life of our customers basically is online. And being online is being on our network or on the environment that Vodafone controls to protect all the transactions that the customer is doing. So we have a liability towards our customer. To do that, and to build up this strategy, we need to acknowledge this is a journey. This is not a one-year task or a one-night job. It's a journey where you build your processes, build your systems, and to have accompanied with the right skills. As mentioned, we have a scarcity of experts of cybersecurity. It's a global problem. But what we are seeing in Egypt is that we have a different skill set, that we are seeing very distinguished. And as my colleague said, that now the undergraduates, and we are seeing a lot of, let's say, engineering schools in Egypt introducing cybersecurity as a major, introducing AI as a major. So we are really hopeful that within the next 2 to 3 years, those generation will pour in a lot of skills in the market that we need to make advantage of into the good side, not on the bad side. And I think that organizations now acknowledging that cybersecurity is a real risk will try to put in the right processes, will try to put in the right strategies, and will try to invest in the cybersecurity. Taking note as a technology company, when a customer, whether it's a consumer or an enterprise, when they are looking for putting a new service to the market, looking at doing another new transaction on the digital world, you need to think twice, who is your provider? Is your provider secured? Is your provider can secure your transaction so you can grow in the future as a business, or to be safe for your financial information, personal information that you are transacting on the digital space? This is crucially important. Another angle is when we wouldn't take a low profile on is our own employees. Because they say 50% of the attacks comes from your own people. So it's not about only putting the right tools, the right system, the right processes, and getting the right skills, but if you don't train and make awareness to your own people that putting strong passwords, don't share your usernames, don't go without putting cybersecurity as a priority when you develop new product. If you, let's say, ignore those basics around, you can get attacked. And it's not a matter whether or not you're getting an attack, you will be attacked. We see attacks every day. It's all about how you mitigate, how you protect, how you prevent the further attack damage to your organization.
Thank you very much. This is again extremely interesting. It's getting more and more intellectual again for me. And I'm trying to refocus the discussion because I still want to open to the floor. So I'll do the following if you allow me. One question for all of you, and I'll start with Dr. Ah. Push or pull factor, current or the state? Do we impose on people to have cybersecurity insurance and cybersecurity capabilities and so on? Or do we give them an incentive that if you do this, you're going to get, I don't know, that's some.
I think you should do both of them. So it should be a culture, you know. Right now we are dealing, all the people dealing with a digital equipment. By the way, 8 years ago, there is a new psychological disease called nomophobia, no mobile phone phobia. All of us waking up in the early morning looking for his cell phone. Since your life, all your life in your cell phone. So how to deal with the technology is the most important thing. But if you impose him and enforce him or to follow your instruction, he may not follow your instruction as you are looking for. But you have to convince him that is his benefits to follow your instructions. So we need to change the culture of the people that if you are dealing in the internet or in the digital equipment, you are not alone. There is somebody watching you, somebody trying to catching your information. So take care to put your email in public. Take care to choose a password, a strong password, something like that. Take care of phishing attack, as my friend said. But I don't think that if you enforce people to follow your instruction, you get the right result. You should convince them to make it as a culture, as a business as you go. You know, not to be a solid instruction. Sometimes if you're asking some organization to follow a quality control or standard ISO 9001, he make a lot of instruction and checklist and that's it. But he didn't follow this instruction as good as you want. So I think that the people should be convinced that their benefits, their rights, their wealth, their money will be protected if they follow the cybersecurity controls.
Can I be so decided and ask Your Excellency something as a derivative of this question? For the critical infrastructure facilities of the state, the new administrative capital, the stock exchange, the regulatory, financial planning authorities, universities, training academies, and so on. Are they pushed? Are they encouraged? Are they following cybersecurity?
Yeah, for the governmental organization, we are issuing some security controls powered by Prime Minister. And he should follow that instruction, and there's a punishment if he didn't follow this instruction. So we have the capability to establish a framework, a security controls, and we have the authority to audit on them if they follow these security controls or not, as a governmental employee. But for the human being, I think you should convince them, not to force them.
By the way, the governmental employees are human beings as well.
Yeah, I know, but he's responsible for his organization, but not his responsible for himself in information. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Tom, I'll move to you. Same question, but also please want to tell you, I want you to tell us, has there been any market sizing done? Is there any market share studies, investment costs, any appreciation of what is needed? And again, on the motion, will you have to speak, please?
Yeah, following what Ahmed said, a lot of it comes down to the clients having the belief in the policy. What we've had various scenarios where the clients believe in the policy, but they don't necessarily have the infrastructure or the cybersecurity posture in order to obtain it. So what we've done on case by case with certain clients is they would have a more restrictive policy in terms of the sublimits. So for instance, anything that's involved in a ransomware attack could be sublimited to, say, 25% of the total limit of insurance. But what we do on the side is, as every client goes through a journey, some clients might be more resilient than others in terms of their processes. They get rewarded for every improvement that they implement, whether that's SOC, SIEM, different EDR. So it's always ensuring that the client knows what they're purchasing first. It's pointless having a cybersecurity policy if you don't know what it covers and how best to utilize it. What a lot of clients don't understand when it comes to their cyber insurance policy is, depending which insurer that you use, you actually get free access to cybersecurity improvements. Some of the global partners that we use will conduct free penetration testing. They'll provide one-on-one training with a risk engineer, which goes over all of the controls that you have in place and where would be the best ways to improve. And this always works best for the clients once they do get onto the policy, because year on year, it can lead to decreases in the premium. When it comes to the second part of the question, in terms of market trends, some of the stuff that we're seeing introduced into cyber insurance is more reliance on third-party vendors, especially when it comes to checking the risk posture of the company. We've seen, BitSight, Kind, Network Security Scorecard start running external web-facing tests on the company, and this could be to check for anything externally facing, such as open ports. Now, this is a non-intrusive check. It can be done through just a simple URL check. If they can check it and see where there's vulnerabilities, so can everyone. So a lot of it is not only for the belief of the client of the policy, it's the belief of accepting that not everyone is going to be 100% secure. It's knowing that there's always best ways to improve. When you look at other lines of insurances, such as, marine property, it's been going for hundreds of years. The first cyber insurance policy was produced, I believe, in 1991 under a title of data liability. So there's less aggregation of consistent data to check. When it comes to, fires, floods, typhoons, you can really consistently check many years of data to see where potentially what date or time it could happen. But cyber attacks aren't limited by space, time, or geography. It could happen any time of the day, anywhere in the world. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. Character sit, and please, do you have enough expertise technically within the insurance business for people to be able to know about how to explain and sell to the companies this? Because it's a new line of business. Right?
Yes, thank you, Karim. It's a challenging question, and I think whether it's a carrot or a stick depends on a number of elements. The stage or maturity in a particular market, in a particular nation, in a particular region. Ideally, if you're still in an early phase in the journey, like we are actually in Egypt, I may claim that you need a stick that looks like a carrot. To make it clearer, there are ways actually in certain industries and segments where there are some ratings and classification to organizations and businesses. And if we could actually consider having the cybersecurity parameters or cyber insurance availability as one of the indicators that may have an impact on a company or a business rating, that could be helpful. Having said so, in certain sectors, and we know it's going to be compulsory in Egypt, and I'm talking specifically about Egypt. What I know as a fact under the financial sector, and we know that we're expecting very soon the issuance of the new unified insurance law that will actually include a wider scope of compulsory insurances. Cyber insurance is going to be for certain entities actually a compulsory licensing requirement. So that will be more on the stick side. I think that is going to evolve. I think what we should be doing, whether as cybersecurity providers or regulators or cyber insurance providers and regulator, is really building up the awareness. Because our real problem now is a very low level of awareness across most of the organizations. And when we know that 50% of the attacks are on SMEs, so there is a high level of exposure and vulnerability there. Actually, we need to acquire more knowledge, expertise, and maybe this is why we have some colleagues like Tom with us here. There is globally a more advanced international experience and expertise, particularly when it comes into cyber insurance. There is a lot of information and knowledge sharing. Nowadays, there is actually certification in the insurance world for cyber insurance. I am not personally a cyber insurance certified person, but in my company, I'm proud that I have colleagues who are certified. And this helps a lot in guiding the clients actually toward the cyber insurance requirement, in having the healthy discussion with our insurance providers. We have to do a lot in our industry actually to make sure that we have more and more certified people who have the knowledge, who have the training, who has the expertise. And we also have a problem of insurance capacity. Not all the insurers in Egypt are in a position actually or have enough capacity to provide cyber insurance. So capacity building in the insurance industry in Egypt is very important. Having links to the international markets, going to reinsurers, and here I think Howden has been playing actually a very effective role for our market in Egypt, and I think this model needs to grow and to expand. Thank you.
Which one of them is going to get Vodafone more business? Am I right listening?
Okay, I'll talk from two angles. As a cyber expert, I like the stick because it makes the company invest in the cybersecurity. When you acknowledge that this is a risk, you need to mitigate, you push the money, push the budget, you implement, and you are forced because you are afraid of the penalty and the payback. From a business perspective, I think also, I always say that cybersecurity is an area where we collaborate, we don't compete. When there is a vulnerability on one of the technical systems that every company uses, like recently in one of the Solaris softwares, it attacks everyone. So if we don't collaborate and to fix and to have a deadline to fix such a vulnerability, one organization being impacted can hit all other organizations because whether we like it or not, we are all connected. So from a business perspective, we'd like also to see the stick, but would like to see a balanced stick with the size and with the influence of each organization, and to have an adaptive framework that can help organizations grow and also implement the right cyber controls in place. So I think having the right framework and having the teams of the insurance from the other side will help shape how we regulate our cybersecurity ecosystem.
Thank you very much. The consulting business of Mazars or of the auditors, of the Big Four, Big Seven, I can't remember if they call them Big Four or Big Seven, Big Ten now. But the consulting business and the digitization, cybersecurity, push or pull, what will make it easier?
I think that's a good question. I think if we look at few roles, so you have the cyber insurance. I think that protects you from a financial perspective. So I think that's very important when you think of a business side. I think also you have regulators need a role to play in especially if you think of the banking sector or the insurance sector. So you have the Central Bank of Egypt has already started to require banks to implement the COSO system, which is around operational risk. And like Dr. Ali is saying, in insurance there's expectation. Even beyond that, if you look at the EU has implemented something called DORA, which is requiring financial services and financial institutions to really manage and look at their operational risk. So I think, from a stick perspective, there's that. But if I was to look at when we talk to clients and we talk to businesses, I'd say there are four main perspectives and four elements that we encourage people to focus on, and the top priority is education. You need to educate your people. I think the panel here has already discussed this idea that the biggest security risk from a cyber perspective is the people. And if they are unaware of kind of the impact that sharing a password or other elements not being protective, it can have a really big impact on your and give opportunity for a hacker, which impacts your reputation, financially, etc. The other thing is you need to look at you need to have visibility. What assets do you have? A lot of companies, surprisingly, don't understand and don't have a full visibility of the digital assets that they have. And so you need to be aware of what digital assets. IT might be in charge of an element, but then you have marketing or another department that's doing has their own servers internally or their own subscriptions to cloud-based solutions. So having a full perspective on what your digital assets are very important. And then you need to do continuous safeguarding. So testing. So we do a lot of penetration testing for clients. We do sometimes red teaming, which is ethical hacking, and regular IT audits to understand where you might have vulnerabilities. And then the final part is really detecting and how are you going to respond. I think we have this. We talk about it's not if, it's when. I think everybody needs to understand that at some point you're going to get a hacker or you're going to get an attempt of a cyber entry or a cyber criminal try to enter your network, and it's about how you can detect that and then mitigate the risk. So if you segregate databases and key client information from other information so that they don't have full access when they enter, and then how you respond, whether it's responding to your employees, to the market, all that is very important element, and kind of that's how we approach it from our end.
Thank you very much. Maybe that's the dean of PwC. I just gave you the strategy of competitors. We talk about it later. Finally, before I give you the floor, I'd like to thank you for having the professional posture of not mentioning the name of the company that was potentially attacked. I had a nightmare about family fees back. So I'm not sure that's the case we're talking about. Push-up factor.
Frankly speaking, from our experience in the Egyptian insurance industry, the insurance awareness in Egypt is very low, frankly speaking. How we assess the insurance awareness for different countries, it's simply, there is a percentage which is the total premium to the total GDP. In Egypt is like 0.6%, which is showing the lack of awareness in our market. In similar markets in the region, I will not talk about US or Europe, in the region UAE Emirates is like 2.7, Saudi now is 1.9, Morocco is 3%. My suggestion is we have to provide a compulsory element for cyber insurance. In the absence of this compulsory element, whatever we do as insurance companies or brokers or reinsurers, this will not be very satisfactory. So when we started, maybe we put a small limit as a compulsory element, not to all industries, but to some industries like banking, which the central bank already started, like the fintech companies. The FRA also started to impose some compulsory insurances for the fintech companies. We have to. In the absence of this, I don't think that there will be a big penetration because, frankly speaking, let's be very transparent. Frankly speaking, in hard economic situation, most of clients think about insurance as burden, not as opportunity or protection for their assets and digital assets. Data is a treasure. We all know that now data is the game for the future. So it's very important. So my suggestion that we have to introduce a compulsory element for cyber insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed, and I'd really like to intervene and give my personal opinion, but allow me from what I thought, I'd like to state that looks at the current, we need to be compulsory to both people resistant imposing and the physical that's part of life in our country. I do want to find out, but there is one important element that I need as a proud Egyptian to focus on very quickly, 1 to 2 minutes maximum from everyone. Using cybersecurity attacks and challenges in Egypt as an opportunity to create the right talent, to develop the right capabilities, to do the right investments with universities and academia, and to export this talent to bring in dollars out of this line of business into Egypt only.
Okay, yeah, one of the, so I moved back to Egypt almost 4 years ago now. I lived abroad for quite a long time. I think one of the key assets that we have as a country is we have a young generation, quite a young population, and they're extremely talented. There's good education, and especially when it comes to the technical skills. When we look at Mazar on a global scale, we have big cybersecurity hubs in the US, Netherlands, UK, one in Tunisia, and we are actually actively looking to build a practice here in Egypt because given the current situation where it's actually cost effective, but we have a high pool of talent. Obviously, there needs to be development, as people have said, to kind of get to the level of competing with other countries. But I think we're on the right path, and there's big opportunity for Egypt to be a hub and an expert in cybersecurity.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, this is a very good opportunity of us, and let me tell you that in our new strategy, or issuing a new strategy 2023 to 2027, one of the most pillars is the capacity building, to build cybersecurity agencies and to cooperate with the academia. We already signed an MOU with different university to establish an undergrad cybersecurity program in the computer science faculty, engineering faculty, and we're planning right now to build a new faculty for cybersecurity, and we are dealing with the private sector. My best friend, Tariq Shabaka in MCS, we are cooperating together with the Higher Education Ministry to build a new program for education and new people. Let me tell you something. 2 weeks ago, somebody hacked our website, NTRA website, but we found that it's a 16 years old person here. We got him, we reached to him, and he's very knowledgeable guy. And we have, as you said, a very talented people. We asked him not to do that in a non-legal way. We can get benefit from you and cooperate with you. There's a lot of people that, like your daughter, the attacker is not looking for money, but he need to prove himself and his capability to do something like that. And what this was the starting of cybersecurity. We already protect ourselves as well, but to build a new people, new generation, understanding cybersecurity, to be expert and to export them to the region is very important. As we did a lot of activities, we are cooperating with ITI, we are cooperating in TI, with the academia, encouraging graduation projects in different universities and funding them to get a new tools for cybersecurity. Yes, it's a good opportunity, and we are working with that as well.
Sorry, before I give you the floor, it's the 16 years old.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Sorry.
It was not your boy, no?
No, my boys are much older, and my grandchildren a bit younger. Well, I think, because yes, definitely we have had in the last 2 decades an exponential growth in computer science schools, colleges, technology colleges, and we have more and more young people who are being actually quite keen, okay, and see the merits of this study that we were looking at 15 or 20 years back as the future, but it is now the present, the past, and more on the future. But what I think as a nation, what we need to agree on, those skills that we are developing, that we are growing, that we are nurturing, do we want to export the talents or we want to export the service? Because unfortunately, what I have been seeing in the last couple of years is that we are losing the talents, and I wouldn't call this exporting a talent. I hope that we are able to set a strategy or create an environment that will make it really more effective and efficient to us to retain the talents and then export the service. And particularly, I'm not an expert in the IT and technology, but we know now today IT development does not really recognize any borders, okay? Okay, India has been exporting the services many years ago, and possibly other nations, with developers who are actually living in India. So what I would hope we can see, what I think we need to do as a shift, and here this is actually a collaborative effort from the state, from the industry, is that we really, yes, we need to develop more skills, we need to retain those skills here, and then look at how we export the service. And this is when it becomes more beneficial in my view. Thank you.
I will just add one comment on what have been said, that always challenges cater for further opportunities. I think because Egypt is a highly regulated market, highly regulated country, this challenge has created an opportunity that we need to do everything local. We don't depend on cloud-based, where cloud now vendors do everything. So doing everything local can build up your skill set locally. And in Vodafone, we truly believe in the Egyptian skill set. And I think we have a strategy to build a center of excellence where we provide service, not to export the individuals, but to cater for the right skills and to start providing cybersecurity or advanced technological services either to other businesses or to other countries even. So creating for this center of excellence, I think this is one of strategic priorities for Vodafone. And I think it should be for Egypt because it is a national income source in the end.
As an insurance company, and our headquarters is based in UAE, we are dealing with different nationalities when it comes to IT systems and IT solutions. I will not quote what we are always saying, Egyptians are smarter, they are really smarter, but what we want to teach our generation, not only the technology, is the discipline. So they need to be better on the discipline, because we are dealing with different nationalities. We are a big regional company. This generation, our generation, firstly, the young generation, which is the future for this country, they need to be more occupied. I think if we have a governmental direction to provide the service, as Dr. Arid said, for technology and IT, that this will be a better occupation for them, and at the same time, it will be a learning curve, and it will be a source of income, because it's very cost effective. Egypt is very, very cost effective now. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully not too much investment. This is my favourite business travel. I would say it comes down to, we can see that there's a lot more people being educated. That's been discussed today. It's all going to come down to how do you retain them. I think it's not just going to be what's a monetary motivation. what motivates them to actually want to stay in the country, whether that's through different training courses. I think, you know, unfortunately there are going to be more cyber attacks, which means the need for more experts is definitely going to happen. It's all about what do you do to make them want to stay in the country and not go elsewhere.
Thank you very much. So we can afford another few minutes, 10 minutes, and so on for questions from the floor. I have a friendly agreement with Nadia Bonus to offer £100 for the first question that comes up. Please, yeah, go ahead. Please, if you can, I think we need a mic. Please talk about it. If you can introduce yourself.
Sterling, Karim?
No, Egyptian.
I accept 100 yen, no problem. My name is Tariq Shabak. I'm a board member for the CIT, the Chamber of Information Technology, and the CEO for MCS. So thanks for the great panel, and thanks, of course, for the great discussion. I have a quick question, actually, mainly for, of course, for the team from the insurance part, because I'm coming from the technical side, and the main question is about, especially for the discussion regarding the business side, I didn't hear any part about the standards, because if you are going to insure a product, you have to have a standards. They mentioned the standard for the manufacturing facility and having some compliances. The process here in Egypt is not clear about how to build the standards in the commercial side, and if they are going to follow that, what is the tests, what's the audits have to be done before going into the approvals and for the insurance part. I think having the equation about the knowledge about what's the requirement from the customer side will be a big enabler for the insurance side to be able to sell and to promote the technology. So a question goes for, of course, the panel.
But a certain thing of the business not to me.
Yeah, of course.
So who wants to start?
Yep.
Speak up.
So a lot of the time, the questions for minimum security standards depends on the sector. You know, each sector will have different exposures compared to others. In terms of a generic base, what we would tend to look for clients as a minimum security standards, we would normally suggest that there's MFA, especially for remote access. We would normally make sure that there's some form of business continuity plan, as well as an incident response plan. That way we know that they're not only taking care of the defensive side, but also there's an offensive side that could be tested. Unfortunately, what we tend to see now is that roughly every 2-3 months, off the back of a major cyber event globally, that the minimum security standards do change. What we've probably noticed from the back end of 2023 is more of a review into have you got a SIEM or a SOC in place. We're also looking at the information or security controls around domain admins, you know, especially those who have access to what's considered as the vital assets of a company, because those who have access to the vital assets, if you can get hold of their details and infiltrate there, you can shut down the majority of the company. But I would say, if you was to ask me the question in 3 months' time, I've probably got 1 or 2 more things I could add, depending on what happens globally.
Thank you. Anyone else from the insurers? Ahmed?
Yeah, I will not add more about what Thomas said, but what the service we are providing as reinsurance brokers and reinsurers and insurance companies and brokers, we assist you. It's an individual case because even the policy itself is not standard. So the policy is tailored to each industry and different client needs. So we can provide the service, Dr. Warid, myself, Thomas, and if you want other insurance companies or other brokers also, but we can do it on individual cases because there are standards, certain documents that we'll be asking for, all the industries will be asking for the same proposal form, same set of documents, additional information for some industries, but we can provide the service free of charge. We can guide you on how to complete the proposal forms, we can guide on what the risk management measures that you need to be taken, we'll give tips all over the year. Frankly speaking, I'll be again very transparent. The problem we are facing on cyber insurance now is the lack of information. So we don't get enough information. I'll give a story about a bank that who is looking for cyber insurance. I will not mention the name. I hope Karim not mention the names. So we spent almost 6 months because the people are scared to sign the proposal form. Nobody wants to sign the proposal form. The financial people say this is not our cup of tea. The IT people, they are scared to sign that this information is to the best of their knowledge and belief. So I think we provide the guidance, we'll tell you what we want, we will guide you on what we want, and we will guide you on what you want also. So the service is available. So there is no standard information, there are basic information need to be provided, but for sure, the more information you will give, the more transparent the client will be, and the more measures, security and audit and cybersecurity plans you have on ground, the lowest premium we will be paying. Thank you.
The standards I'm mentioning is not the standard of the customer side. There is a compliance standards for the security part. In our world, we see there is a PCI compliance, for example, for the IT. So if you don't comply with these standards, insurance should not. The side I'm mentioning is not to have the customer standards, it's the industry standards, which is different. Like, for example, I'll give you example, ISO 27001 is one of the standards for the security part. If you don't comply with that type of ISO standards, you shouldn't be able to be insured, because this means that you are not following the exact process, not the standards of the customer. So just to explain my question. Sorry.
Yes, I'll be very quick. Basically, this panel includes cybersecurity and cyber insurance parties and a consultant. Cybersecurity and cyber insurance do complement each other. The ideal situation that we want to see is that we have the proper cybersecurity defense line and we have the proper cyber insurance safety net. This is how it is. And in a market that is evolving, from my point of view, I think it should start with the most basic and simplest forms of cyber insurance models, so that we can build it and then develop it gradually as we evolve and as we are having a higher visibility and more data. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to answer the point. So I understand where you're coming from. I think from I don't know if I'm going to, this may sound like a business development pitch, but yes, so we do, so we work with clients, so for example, to do PCI DSS certification, we do the ISO 27001 processes and procedures, and when we do that, we also can support, I mean, we haven't done that here, but abroad, we do work with clients to get the cyber insurance, because, you know, when you comply with standards, usually your cyber insurance premiums will go down, and obviously the more compliant you are, more certifications you have, there's impact. There's even also, but you have to think of SMEs. You know, that there's the comment about SMEs being, you know, 50% of the attacks are at SMEs. And SMEs, it's very hard to employ a full cybersecurity you know, team, and it becomes very costly. So we're seeing the rise of managed security services, and this is where you can have you know, experts that are aware of the standards, the changing regulations, and the changing requirements. Actually, manage the security services for clients. So.
Thank you very much. I have a second question.
Yes, my name is Walid Al-Sherbini. I'm looking after the business origination for Suez Canal Bank. Definitely today's session is very interesting to everyone. So I have maybe 10 questions, but I'll limit to only 2. The first question is a bit technical. What I understand that within the coming few years, there will be introduction to the quantum computers, whereby all the protection measures that we have to protect us from cyber attacks will not be workable, which means that the insurance companies will be exposed to pay a lot of claims, because what we have currently is not enough to protect us. So this is a general question. Maybe any one of the panel can respond to it. Number 2 is related to the business side. What I understand is that the current cyber protection insurance policies is for B2B, which means that to the organization, let's say for our bank to be protected, correct? We can have an idea, we as a bank to discuss together to penetrate it to B2B or B2B to B or B2B to C. which means that instead of just protecting me against claims coming from my customers who are hurt because of me, we are in the same ecosystem. Why not to create a product together that whereby we can sell this insurance to our customers when they will be hit, they will be protected also. Instead of paying my legal fees to protect me from them, no, I'm protecting my customer as well because I care about him as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that question regarding quantum computers. You know, quantum computer has been existing right now, but it's very small right now. It's just few qubits, yeah. But quantum computer will not hit the cybersecurity. It's hit with the cryptology. You come to my point, my PhD in cryptology, since the quantum computer is meaning that the very fast processing capability. So any encryption algorithm based on hard problem like RSA, like Diffie-Hellman, like which is based on hard problem of factorization of a composite number of discrete logarithm problem, something mathematically will not be useful anymore. 2 months ago, Joe Biden has been issued a law enforcing all the governmental organization to change all the classical encryption algorithms to a post-quantum one. We are working in this issue right now. We are working to build our post-quantum algorithm to be able to withstand the quantum computer. This law means that quantum computer is existing, or he may be afraid that China has got a strong quantum computer which are able to break all the classical encryption, which is public key encryption, not a classical, not a secret key encryption, as by the way. So quantum computer will not affect the cybersecurity as a general. Some topics like public key encryption, some issues which need a very fast or very powerful processing capabilities to be to break the system in a few seconds rather than a few years. So post-quantum cryptography is a major issue. We are working in this right now to build our own post-quantum cryptology algorithms.
Yeah, thank you very much. Tom, you want to answer something? And then I have another question.
Yeah, moving on to the second question about business to customer. It's already been put into place. I've done one of the first ever policies across the Middle East and Africa for a bank, whereby it covers customers who have received any type of fraud. So this can include external fraud transfer, where they've sent money into a separate bank account, and it also covers costs for sort of the harassment and therapy that's needed. It's something that we can actually do as well. It's not always discussed. It's a very new product. It's only been around for really 1 or 2 years. But there is something in place for this.
Thank you. Well, you also say something very quickly, but I really like the idea of the business development side of the story, because I will take a few minutes back, collaborate, not compete.
Yes, and actually the proposition for the B2B-C is something that we very much have in mind. It's very important. It will help us not only cover more ends in that circuit, but also it will help building up awareness at multiple layers. So we're ready to meet whenever you want. Thank you.
There's another question, please.
My name is Ahmed Kamal. I am an Egyptian lawyer, eligible to stand before the Cassation Court, and my query to Mr. Ahmed Ali from NTRA. As you know, we are waiting for the executive regulations of the data privacy law.
I promised him we were not going to discuss this.
Okay, I will stop. Okay, I will not complete my query.
It's not easy.
There is likely a conflict between NTRA and this data privacy center after being established, and I would like to understand when it will be established.
From our side, technically, it's already ready. We are waiting the Ministry of Justice to confirm that. But technically, we are finished our work 6 months ago, by the way.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Well, it was not synchronized. Okay. Any more questions? I do have one question for my team. I think there is something cool want the computer and nothing to know about. We have to understand what is this thing. Any more questions on this side of the room? No one to talk to? Okay, I think we have a very good panel. Before thanking you all, I'd like to almost like I did with Nadia, just recapture keywords that have been said. And that has been very intellectually enriching to me and I hope to all of us. The discussion of standards is not standard. So standards with an S apparently. A lot of lack of information is a challenge that I've heard from everyone, at least on the insurance side. Compliance will bring your premium down, so go for cybersecurity. It will also benefit your business and give more business development opportunities. I think we also mentioned the need of more certified cybersecurity experts, need of more capacity. Cyber insurance experts, need of more capacity building. Most of the panel was inclined to say compulsory is the way to go, with some encouragement and incentives. And thank you very much. Collaborate, not compete. This is the only way to make it happen. And I really like what Walid also said, export the service, not the talent. Let's try to protect the Egyptian talent from Egypt and export that service and bring US dollars. And finally, we need more dialogue, if I may. And I thank you, Nadia. I don't know of another business association that have this very technically complex topic, which apparently the next thing, like the ESG and so on, people are going to be required to report their cybersecurity. I think it was a very interesting panel. I'm not going to go out again and say all your names, all my respect to all of you. I thank you very much. I think it's very intellectually challenging, but also entertaining, and I think we have, as Egyptians, a lot of work to get done to advance this agenda. Thank you again, Biba and everyone, and thanks for having us at the moderator. Thank you.
And thank you for an excellent moderation, Karim. Thank you very much.